Hello and welcome to IT Security Labs. Thank you all for joining me tonight for a live stream. And today we got a Windows machine. I'm getting ready for the OSCP as you know, and my Windows game is not that great. I can attack Linux machines and I know my way around. And with Windows, there are some things that I need to work on. And this is a really great machine. I think that we're going to learn a lot. We'll be attacking a Windows Active Directory domain controller. So according to the creator for this machine on Tryhackme, it's as real life as possible. So we'll find out how real life this is. And I think this is rated as difficult. Let me pull the machine up here, then we can all look at the statistics of what people are talking about this machine. And by the time we're done today, we should be able to get NT authority, which is the equivalent of root on Windows. And that's our main goal here. So let's do this. The machine that we're attacking today is called Enterprise from Tryhackme. This is a relatively new machine, as you guys can see. Difficulty rated is hard. I think it's hard because it's Windows. I don't think it's a really hard machine, so to say, but it's rated as hard. So we'll find out. We might be here for a long time or for a very short time. It's a little balls of me to do this, but hey, what is learning without making mistakes in front of everybody? So help me here. Let's get started and start attacking this machine. So what I like to do is I usually create all my machines, in nice organized folders. But you see, today I have this results folder. I ran a tool called Auto Recon, and this is what we do. Just do an auto. You can install Auto Recon from GitHub, and Auto Recon will do most of the reconnaissance for us. And in this case, if we just type Auto Recon and paste that, this is what will happen. Let me show you. Auto Recon will go through our machine and do a lot of enumeration for us, which will make our lives way easier. So as you can see here, it looks like it's still going. I started this about an hour ago. I was hoping it would be done. It will run Nikto, GoBuster. In this case, it's running GoBuster against this port 4700. It's also ran a task on this, so it will look for services. If it finds HTTP, it will know that, oh, there is GoBuster for that. It will run WhatWeb for HTTP services. If there is SMB services, it will run Linenum against those. So those are the tools that this Auto Recon tool brings to the table, and I encourage you to do this manually. Once you know what's happening, you can start using these tools. I'm only using this to save time, since this is a really difficult machine according to Tryhackme. But pretty much, we don't shy away from what we normally do. Let's go back to our old nmap scan. Nmap -a, that's an aggressive scan. We're trying to find out, hey, what's running here? And as you can see, we have port 53. Which is running. That means that this might be a domain controller. We also have port 80, Microsoft. So we know we're dealing with a Windows machine with port 53 open. It also has 88. Now we know that Kerberos is running. For sure, we can now tell this is indeed looking like a domain controller and with the normal services. But the best thing that you can do if you're doing this manually is, after this aggressive scan, do a full port scan, UDP, TCP, make sure that you see everything, of course. In this case, I'm going to rely with my results from, let's go to Auto Recon. After Auto Recon is done, this is what you'll see. You get in your results. You get in your scans here, you notice that we have a ton of results. This is the gold mine for Auto Recon. So as you can see here, we have a lot of results. where to start? Let's start with the results for a TCP scan to make sure everything is there. As you can see, Recon went through and indexed all the ports and also scanned them using tools like Nikto and GoBuster. So all the work has been done for us here. It's now a matter of we need to look at all of our results to make sure that everything is working. Let's look at our full TCP scan. What does our target have? All right. We already spoke about the first ports, but we have a huge attack surface. This can be a lot of noise, of course. 5380, which we will look at, 88, which is Kerberos for authentication, Windows Active Directory. 3383, now we see that now we have, this is, the target name is Lab Enterprise. The name is Lab DC, so that's domain controller. We see the domain name. This is really valuable information. And then of course the computer name. 3389, that's Windows Remote Desktop. So we can, hopefully if we get credentials, sign in with Windows RDP. So that's really good information right here. We already have a domain here, which is really, really good and helpful. So it can be overwhelming looking at all this information and you're thinking, crap, where do I even start? Yeah. HTTP is also open here, which is interesting. Sometimes these HTTPs are useless. Sometimes they can be very useful. 7990 is interesting because we have a title here, log in to continue. Oh, and here we go, log in with Atlassian. Atlassian is part of the Jira, Confluence, that company, Bitbucket, whatever they do. They are notorious for documentation, I think. It's like documentation, ticketing, and all that stuff, I think. So this looks like something that is promising already. We have a title on 7990. So we'll keep that in mind. Let's keep looking just for our own amusement. This port is very notorious for being open on these domain controllers. I've seen it so many times. Every time I'm attacking a domain controller, somehow this 4700 port, it has been a rabbit hole for me in some machines. So I've seen it before. I don't have any hopes with it, of course. All right, so what kind of server is this? Server 2016. Aggressive scanning, either Windows 10 or Server 2016. All right, so it's a relatively newer version of Windows. So maybe kernel exploits might not be what we'll be looking at here. And the interesting thing right away the reason why I was scrolling all the way down is I'm looking for SMB security. Here, what I've noticed is that if you see SMB v1, you might be in luck. SMB v1, you can exploit it easily. You can even run some scripts, nmap scripts, to check to see if it's working, but as you can see, we are not in luck. SMB2, version 2 is enabled this time, and message signing is also enabled and required, which is something that you cannot exploit in this case. So we might have to put our enumeration skills somewhere else. SMB is out of the door because of that version for now. All right, so we know that we have DNS on port 53 and 80. Let's check port 80 quickly. But before we do that, since we already have the domain here, why don't we just go ahead and add this information? Oh, let me close that. Why don't we go ahead and add lab.enterprise.tryhackme to, this is the DNS name, so let's add this to etchost. Some of those are easy to do things you need to be doing when you're attacking Windows machines, or any machines really. If you know the name of the machine, like in this case, let's go ahead and add it to Etsy host. Because why not? All right, so now that we have added it here, you can open a browser and go there. The reason why we're going to HTTP right away is we are trying to see, is this company, do they have a website? On the website, can I see users? That's exactly why we're going to HTTP right away here. But in this case, we get a nice message here, domain controller, keep out. All right? We won't keep out because we're here to actually exploit this machine. So maybe we won't be keeping out anytime soon here. Let's view the page source. I don't expect it to have much, as you can see here. Let's look at what we ran against port 80 in our results here. What did we run against 80, if anything? All right, as you can see here, we ran Nikto, we ran Nmap, we even looked for robots.txt. So most of our work has been done. Let's look with the familiar GoBuster first. This is why Auto Recon is very important, helpful. When you have so much to do, it will take all the work out of the way. GoBuster didn't find much. Found robots.txt. Really? What's in robots.txt? All right, so as you can see, it looks like what is this? We do get the Microsoft IIS version, which can show us whether this thing is old or not. This is version 10. If we get desperate, we'll come back and see if we can just do something like this. If we really get desperate, is there something we can exploit for Microsoft IIS version 10? You can go on that rabbit hole and try to figure out if this is an easy win. Doesn't look like it. In this case, obviously. We can see what web. This will tell us what kind of website we are running. So Auto Recon really helps us with the heavy lifting, so we can spend most of our time looking for interesting things. Just because it's IIS here, this is probably the default IIS version that comes with, this is probably the default IIS web server that comes with our server. Yeah, so all these results here came from Auto Recon, and you can install Auto Recon from GitHub, and all you need to do is just type Auto Recon, point to your IP address, and Auto Recon will identify things for you. If it finds a port, it will run the appropriate scans. In this case, it found port 80. It ran WhatWeb, GoBuster, and Nikto. Okay, one last check for 80 before we move on. I don't think it found anything. This is beginning to look like just a default install. No CGI directories were found, so yeah. We do get some public methods here. Get, head, post. I've used some of these methods before, but I'm not sure if that's what will work in this case with those methods. HTTP methods for IIS is something that you want to look at, especially if nothing else interesting looks up. Let's look at another HTTP port that we found that was interesting. This was 47. What is it? No, not 4700. That was what port was that? 7990. I think that's what hit something interesting. Let's look at the Go Buster for 7990. Most of this is just looking for things that could be interesting. All right, so I could be using the fully qualified domain name as well, because sometimes what happens is things don't actually show up if you don't put the fully qualified domain name. So let's get in the habit of putting fully qualified domain names in the browser. Because sometimes you don't see things when you don't put that. All right, so in this case, nothing interesting other than Atlassian, which the Atlassian, they have the Jira, Confluence, and Bitbucket. I think it's a suite of tools that enterprises use. In this case, it wants an email. I don't have an email, but at least I got a login page. So yeah, so I don't have an email, but I know there's something to be said about this. Reminder to all enterprise. Oh, is that a new name now? Enterprise did THM employees. We're moving to GitHub. Log into your account. They're moving to GitHub. This is open source intelligence, right? Open source. They are moving to GitHub. If you put things in quotes, it will look for results that have that word first. So if by saying GitHub and that, the name of the company that they specified here, I'm looking for that specific one. If GitHub is this string in there, it's going to show up right away. And as you can see, we got our friend Spooky. And by the way, Spooky is the one who created this machine. So we can see that we are in the right direction here. Open source, this is free information. Let's go with it. People do this all the time. They move to GitHub. They don't buy enterprise GitHub, and bad things like what's about to happen here actually happen to them. So let's do that. Enterprise is the latest and greatest company. Okay. New York Stock Exchange. Later on, you'll be able to view all of our awesome free open source trading algorithms. Stay tuned for more details. Oh, nice. This is from 9 days ago. So this is pretty new. We might be up to something here. There are 2 commits. What are these commits are? If you're not familiar with GitHub, you can have GitHub. People would write, whether it's code or just normal scripts or documentation, they'll push it to GitHub. Then if they push things, they can do what are called commits, and you can write a change, then commit to your main branch, write a change and commit. And sometimes, as you can see here, we see that we have 2. They just created 1 commit here, and they also created another one here. The thing that I'm looking at here is when people commit here, people usually are not that smart when they do their commits. They make mistakes and they try to fix them right away. But when you commit, GitHub keeps a record. In this case, it's C- and plus. Somebody removed this and added this. All right, so nothing there, nothing interesting. That was the about us. People. Now we can see, I didn't even run any scripts. It says members. This can show me who wrote this GitHub page. Usually it's going to be an administrator. It's Nick Enterprise Dev. Okay, Nick Enterprise Dev. Is your name Nick? Oh, I see a management script.ps1. That is interesting. Created 2 commits. Let's open that script first. sysinfo.ps1. So they like PowerShell. This was created 8 days ago. What is this PowerShell doing? I used to be a sysadmin, so I like PowerShell a lot. It's really good. Import module Active Directory. So they were creating an Active Directory PowerShell script, mostly for automating dumb things like creating users, in this case, user password, force. So this can be very important, and this is free information, open source Intel. Let's look at our history. All right, there we go. Now, this has to be one of the lessons for us today. If we're going to take anything from this live stream, if you're going to be pushing things to the public GitHub, don't do what our user Nick has done. Nick was testing a script and put the name Nick, because I saw that the user who was creating this repo is Nick. So, and he put his password here to test whatever he was doing with his script here. But what he just did to us as an attacker is expose the password now. So we know that at this company we have a user Nick and we have Toasty Boy as the password. We will gladly accept that. This saved me a ton of time. Instead of me brute forcing for users and stuff like that, I already have a user here, Nick, who I'm actually going to run to town with. So me and Nick are going to be best friends right now. I'm going to copy that. Let me just copy the whole script. I'll play with it later. I'm curious what they were actually trying to do with it. I know that they were converting string password to explain text force, computer object. Okay. I'm just going to paste this into my notes here. Yeah, awesome. Thanks, BT. All right, so we have a username, Nick and Toasty Boy. Let's now go back to our machine. So that was the significance of this note here, of telling people that they're moving to GitHub. So if we had just rushed, we would not have gotten a user and a username and a password. Well, since we have a username and password, we can try a few things, right? We have a computer, we have a username, we have a password. Is that really a username and password? Let me see. Let me just introduce my friend EvilWinRM. I don't want to try RDP because it's too much work in my little Kali environment here. But let's just do this. This is just to test my creds to see if they work. I'm going to try to sign in with EvilWinRM. EvilWinRM saved me a lot when I was on. This is the syntax when I was on Hack the Box. So let's remove you. And put our actual IP here. We don't have administrator yet, but we have our user Nick. Let's see if we can just try to get in. Wouldn't that be easy? If WinRM would make our lives easier. What did I do? If WinRM, I thought you're supposed to prompt me for a password. So this will establish a PowerShell remote shell for us if it works. Don't think it will be that easy. If that doesn't work, we have a better way to actually try to get in. Nice. Congrats, Charles, for your home lab. I actually have an update for my home lab that I wanted to share with you guys. All right. Toasty Boy doesn't work, but let's use some of our in-packet scripts here to see if we can actually do more things. In this case, if you're not familiar with in-packets, let me share with you where they are. You can get these tools from GitHub. All right. So these are your Active Directory attack Python scripts. These are all in-packet scripts. They do different things. As you can see, we have one for Mimikatz, one for getting users. So what I was supposed to do earlier was I was supposed to try and start with this get users.py, but since we had to do open source intelligence, I'm not going to even bother with that one. Let's see if we can actually, yeah, that's the one I used. I'm looking at my notes when I did this earlier. Let's do this. Hopefully I will complete these two here. All right. We can run this get users.py, and you will notice that there are multiple ways these scripts work. So if you're doing Active Directory attacks, you will notice that in-packet scripts get noticed a lot. Get AD users or get np users.py. This is one of the ones that you can use. There is another one that you can use for brute forcing, which I tried for a long time. I wasted a ton of time on that one, and it didn't work. Well, what was the name for that one? Let me see if I documented it here. All right, anyway, let's use this one for getting the password. The reason why I ran it, I wanted to show you that you can get help with these scripts. You can use the no-pass where you don't get asked for passwords. You can specify DC IP, the IP address of the domain controller in this case, to see if you can get users from a domain controller. And then there are many ways you can actually run this script to make sure that it works for you. In this case, we got a username, Nick, and we have a password. So let's see if we can actually get some hashes using this authenticated method. And to do that, we use that get users.py script. And let me see if I actually have all right. So here's the syntax for us. Undo. Thanks, Charles. Appreciate it. We specify the lab.enterprise. Since we have our user Nick, let's see if we can actually see if we can get any entries here. Nope. Let's go to in-packet documentation here, because let's just do a quick there we go, so we can see what I'm talking about. right, so here is the script that we are using, just in case you're curious. This is the get AD users. We want the SPN one. Someone said, don't just run a script, you need to show us what it's doing. And here is the script, the PowerShell script. So let's run this one. I need to find the proper syntax for this get SPN one. I wonder if my documentation here would tell me. If you are curious what is the packet and how to install it, here is all the things that you need to know. Okay. Let's try one more time. I think I was not. I think it's this one. Get. All right, there we go. All right, then I just need to specify my domain and the credentials. This would tell me if I can get any SPNs for any specific users. In this case, I can tell that I can see for this Nick person who is the administrator for our domain. They have access or gave themselves access, it looks like, to another account, let's see, called Bitbucket on the enterprise. So let's see if we can actually request the hash for that Bitbucket. If you do a dash request, we can actually get the password hash for the user Bitbucket within Active Directory. And as you can see, here is our password hash. We have this here, KRB5TGS. This is Kerberos, right? So let's identify this hash. We can crack this hash using Hashcat, but we need to make sure that we identify it appropriately. What you can do is you can just paste that first part, or you can go to there's a table for Hashcat. What is it called? Is it hash tables? Hashcat tables. There is a table that I've seen before. If anyone remember the name of the table where we can identify, hashes from a Hashcat tables. Oh yeah, there it is. So what I do usually is when I get a Windows hash or any type of hash and I'm not sure, I copy the first part of the hash and then come here, Command F, paste. You see right away, you can see what it is. And what we are looking at, what we are looking for is this first part here. Why is this significant? If you tell a Hashcat what type of hash it is, it's going to be faster to crack that hash. So now that we know that our hash is identified as 13100, so we got a hash because we found a user, Nick, who is authenticated. And if we look for any SPNs tied to Nick, we found out that, oh, Nick actually has Bitbucket, which is, I think, the enterprise software that is Atlassian and all that stuff. So the user Bitbucket has this hash here, which we just need to save and crack. We'll name it bucket. bucket hash. It sounds like a fun name. Okay, so now we just need to use Hashcat. If you're not familiar with Hashcat, do I have Hashcat syntax? Let me go back to my notes. I might actually have Hashcat syntax here. No, I don't. Yeah. Hashcat has better options that you can actually make your life easier in this case. All right, so let's crack that bucket hash by using Hashcat. I think I had my syntax -m 1300 13100. That's the identifier that we found from the website that we were in, and in this case we want bucket hash. Let's just use our friend Roku. This might freeze my computer. Usually when I crack hashes, I do it on a bigger machine downstairs. I have a hash cracking old gaming computer, but in this case I want to show you what I'm doing. So here it is. It's going. This might take a second here. All right, that wasn't bad. Little red bucket, that's our password. So we got our user Bitbucket, and if we were not sure, it will tell us here. Bitbucket, let me just document this somewhere safe. Bitbucket, and Bitbucket is the password. Little red bucket, all lowercase. This looks like a service account for the Bitbucket application that was owned by the user Nick, who is the administrator. So we cracked the user, we found the password. All we need to do now is get in. Two ways we can get in there. We can call up our friend Evil WinRM if we wanted to. I'm not sure if we can find him here. Or if we go back to our results here, we have 3389 open, so we can just use Windows Remote Desktop. Let's go and see if we can just I'll use the Remina app on Kali. This doesn't matter. Other people have their own preferred applications. I like the Remina app, so you will notice that I have it here. I have been playing with a lot of buffer overflows, so Remina app can keep history of your remote shells. So let's go through the configuration here and I'll show you what we have. So within the Remina app, all you need to do is, let's name this. All right, our IP address I'll use as Bitbucket, and we'll put the password that we just found, little bucket, lab.enterprise.tryhackme. Here, if you're going to be doing this, you need to play with your resolution. You will notice very quickly here that the resolution might be different. Maybe that's why other people prefer other things other than this Remina app, but so far it works. I'm going to save here first. Then if I double click, you should complain about a certificate the first time you do this. But since this is not the first time I've done this, I'm in. So right away, maximizing that. This is what I was talking about. This not liking the resolution being crappy. let's see. So we found the flag on the desktop the moment we got there. That should work because we just found that right now. So now our next goal is to go for root flag, and this is not fun. No, I don't like this. Ken Beck says X free RDP. Yes, actually I've used free RDP before. It works well from the terminal. Let's do this. Yeah, so if you like this Remina thing, that's what you find. That's what you get. All right, so we are in. We found our first flag. Next order of business, obviously, is now to become root. This is where things become more interesting for Windows. Let's open our friend PowerShell. Usually you right click and run as administrator, but we are not administrator, so we just open a normal PowerShell. I like to use PowerShell ISE, just personal preference. And I'll show you why I like it. It gives me a tab on top to write, and it has a lot of autocomplete features. It's like a handicapped version of PowerShell. So as you can see, you get a menu here, and you can write your scripts here and run them in real time. X is an IDE. Okay, so we are Bitbucket. Of course, we know because we got in here as Bitbucket. Yeah, we are part of the Lab Enterprise Bitbucket. We need to escalate our privileges. So let me see if I have something for Windows privilege escalation. All right, so I have my cheat sheet here. My Windows privilege escalation is not strong, as you can see. I can add more here. I have more for Linux, of course, but WinPeas is a good one. I'm not going to use that one today because it's not going to really help us that much. Let's see which one can I add here. Instead, we're going to be using our friend PowerUp. I shouldn't, you would not have PowerUp here, but let me show you in Kali. WinPeas and PowerUp are really good status. WinPeas works sometimes. WinPeas and LinPeas are my go-to at first, or PowerUp would do the trick as well. And I'll show you what I'm talking about here in a second. I already brought it up here, but wget works as long as you have PowerShell and you can write to things. In this case, we're in here as Bitbucket, so we can write anywhere we are because we are this user. That's why we can write here with PowerUp. So how do we bring PowerUp here? Since I already have it in here, let's go back. As you can see, our friend is still running. This is auto recon. He was still running, and this was the command that I ran. So let's stop auto recon there. If I do a locate, PS1, I got this PowerUp for a machine on Hack the Box called Devil, or whatever you can pronounce that. That was my first introduction for it. So as you can see, I have it in there, and it's a PowerShell script. You can find it on GitHub, just like any of these tools that we're using here. You can also find it on this location here. I don't know if this is a default location or if I installed this. I'm not sure, but you can find powerup.ps1 anywhere on GitHub. All you need to do now is let's get it there. File transfer. It doesn't matter how you really get this file to the system. It's up to you, but just in case there's someone who is here, First, I need to be in the directory where the my Power App script is, of course, so I can host it from there. I'm not going to be even moving anything. Then after that, let's launch our Python simple HTTP server. So now we're hosting an HTTP server in this directory. Of course, now we have powerapp.ps1. All we need to do is get to our victim machine. For that, for me, I have multiple ways. Sometimes things don't work, and don't get discouraged. Sometimes things don't work. For Windows, I have set util, which will work. And this is the syntax. If you wanted to drop something in temp, for example, if you wanted to drop netcat, but you need to set util if you wanted that. You can use PowerShell, where you just call PowerShell.exe, new object, and that will do it as well. But why go through all this mess when you can just use wget? I don't want to do that, so I'm just going to use wget. If wget doesn't work, then I'll use one of these. But I do have things ready for me, and sometimes things don't always work. I have blogs where people tell me how to do things. So here is a nice blog that I've been following for a while now, and they explain how to transfer files. Ken Berg, yeah, my notes, I'm not sure if they will be helpful. I can share them with people. I just haven't found it time to post them yet. But yeah, I can definitely share these with people in the next few weeks. Yeah. So here's where I was moving Mimikatz with set2. Let's use wget. Enough of this. Let's go to our victim machine. But there is, of course, a catch, right, with wget. It's not the same deal as everything that you normally do with Linux. We are pulling off port 8080 / PS1. We need to close. We say -output. I think that's what we are going for. I'm just naming this 2 because there's already one here, but I want to show you the transfer in action. And there you go. Now you can transfer files from Linux to Windows using a simple HTTP server and wget. But of course, there's all those other options that we have. And you can confirm. The reason why I like this is because you can confirm that it actually succeeded, because we got a 200. All right. How do we use Power App? Let's go here. Okay, I think I should be able to find it. Maybe this one. It's good because this tool might be new for someone who is watching this and they're like, what are you talking about? It's a script, and the way these privilege escalation scripts work is they will go for known vulnerabilities, and then they will try to tell us in plain English, like, hey, here is what's wrong with this system in this case. I'm not seeing something very specific here, but I think I should be able to just do an import module. All right, there we go. Yeah. Import module and then powerapp.ps1. Let's do that. It's in here. Oh. Is it back or forward? I cannot never get that now. Okay, let's run power up to PS1. This will import the PowerShell script to be part of the native PowerShell. So now we can run power up commands. Let's see. If we wanted to just invoke all kinds of checks for power up, where's my power up? Then we can just do an invoke all checks. Let's see. I'm probably not looking at the correct documentation. Oh, this one says formally. Am I too old now for this stuff? Invoke all checks. Now it's now called invoke priv. Or whatever. I'm going to do it what I know. Because the reason why I'm running invoke all checks for me is because I might have the old version of this, but this is 5 years old. All right. Let's do it the way that they are suggesting we do things. First, I knew it. Mine says invoke all checks. So that's something I need to update on mine to the latest version of Power Apps. So this is going. Think of this as your LinPs or WinPs. Those are tools that you can run on a system and say, hey, tell me what's wrong with this system. What can I exploit? Right away here we see that we found our good friend here, Kenberg. Thanks for stopping by, man. Appreciate it. So we don't have much on this system except for this 0-tier service. Other than that, nothing. Actually, we do have a path that can be hijacked, Windows, but yeah. But we have checking service executable and argument permissions for that. This is an uncoded parts. I have a nice document that is in my notes for uncoded parts that I'd like us to look for. Let me see if I can find it for uncoded parts, which is really, really good. Can I find it? And this is the easiest attack, I think. If you're going for Windows, otherwise, you know what? Let's look it up. Look at that. Isn't the internet just great? You find something from a service, even if you've never heard of this. Here is a blog post that will explain to you, and I will tell you what this is. So, Windows is very sensitive to spaces. So you see, it says C program files. Then we have this a subdirectory. Then we have this executable. If you wanted to execute this executable, and we gave this absolute path, if we did not properly quote this directory here, what Windows will do, which is not smart, but that's what Windows does, is it will go to C. Hopefully you quoted program files. If you didn't, it will look in program, if it can find that, or in hopefully it gets past program files because you didn't create that. Then it will go to A. Inside of A here, it will look for b.exe. It will look for this executable in this path here. And this has potential for us as attackers to say, wait a second. Well, if Windows is going to be looking for this executable and it's so dumb, it will start looking for it here with the name of the executable right here. Why don't I just create one myself? That is another reverse shell that will escalate the privileges. And if this executable B here is running as root, we'll be in business. We just get a shell as root. It's very simple. This is one of the easiest privilege escalation for Windows. If the path is not quoted, all you need to do is instead of having the executable here, use MS of Venom, create an executable with a different name. The name actually that matches the name of the executable, put it here. Windows will execute yours first before it executes the one that's intended. And in this case, we do have that. So what then can we do here? Using our examples, C program files, this is uncoded. So we know that zero tier 1, zero tier 1.exe. What this is going to do is for us is we can just, instead of having 1.exe here, we can just put a zero tier.exe right in here and restart this service. And if this service is running as root, we should get a reverse shell as root. So it's that simple. All right. And if you have any questions about this, let me know, because I think this is the highlight of what we are doing, and hopefully we can execute. All right. So how then do we create an executable that is useful for us? Well, Kali Linux to our rescue. We can use MS Venom to generate a Windows executable. Let's just use that. You can just look up this if you haven't done it before. Here's a cheat sheet. I like cheat sheets. They always make our lives easier. I probably already have mine that I use. So you can use MS Venom, Windows shell, reverse TCP, local port, local IP minus file times 86 times 64. If you know which platform, right? Do we know which platform here for Windows? Let's go check. It's got properties. Is it 64? It's probably 64-bit. Wow, Tryhackme. This is stingy. 1 gig, really, for a 2019 server? So we're going for a 64-bit system. All right, so let's use MS Venom, generate our own executable, name it 0.exe, go and place it in that uncoded path and restart the service. When the service starts, it will go in the path looking for the 1.exe, but instead it's going to find ours. Then you do execute ours, execute ours, and we get a shell. It can be that easy, right? So where was I with my MS Venom? All right, so let's use MS Venom with, and there's a difference between a staged and a stageless in this case. Let's use, let me see, which one did I use earlier? Was it a staged one or stageless? Because if I do one, let's use this one. Yeah. And all we need to do now is change a few things here. Instead of shell, I'm going to name use 0. Port, what port can we listen on? I like this port for whatever reason. You just need your tunnel IP. The problem with copying from the internet is you gotta have to be like very careful, like syntax and everything. Okay, so MS Venom, the platform is Windows shell reverse TCP. Awesome. All right. We want it to be 0.exe. All right. Here's what I had, what I used earlier, which is identical to what we just generated together here. I didn't specify the platform, but I specified the same port 5353 Windows Metaparator. So the difference is whatever that they're talking about here. I'm going to stick with this one because I think this is the correct one. This will generate sh.exe. And all we need to do is get this sh.exe to this system here. In that case, let's see if we can get it here. Let's copy that path. Let's hope it works. Windows is very touchy-feely about paths, and especially if they are not properly coded. Like that, you like, just moving around can be a pain if you're not careful with it. Let's see if I can do that. Otherwise, I'll do it the long route. See, this is what was missing, the quotes. So that's what we have there. All right, now let's use our wget again. This case, .exe. I'm going to put that one there. Let's hope that one works. So you can have something named something different and output it to a different name. It's possible. Like what I'm doing here. So all I need to do is start my listener here, a Python simple HTTP server, and we should be able to get it moved. And if all works, I can just host it here. I hope you can see this is so tiny. wget works. So now if I do an ls here, okay, I put it in the wrong one, of course. I don't want it to be in the same as 1.exe. I want it to be one down. Remember, our goal is to hijack this so that this one doesn't run, but instead it runs on one. So let's do that. Let's run it again. All right. So now all we need to do is, let's start our listener. I think we can use the multi-handler during the OSCP exam. It's not a disqualifier, so let's use that. As long as you're not using it for auto pawning, I think we can do that. So why not? Let's hope this runs. Come on. We are near the end. I'm looking up why. why it keeps stuttering. All right, it's not a problem. Just in case my MSF console is broken, I can start one in Tryhackme network. We should be able to get it to work. And let's see. Let's close that. Every time right before we get to the end, something bad happens like this, but not today. We'll get this one done. If that one doesn't want to work, all we need to do is recreate our payload here on this machine and move it, and then we should be able to get it to work. And once we get our reverse shell, we should get it as NT authority, which should be easy to work with. Then we should be able to get our root flag. I just recently did an update to my Kali, and I think it messed my system. This is called Enterprise on Tryhackme. Let's see what we can do here. Maybe the database is not working. All right, we got another Kali working. Let's use this one instead. So what this means is we need to regenerate our payload. So let's go and delete it first from our machine. Can I do this? Yeah. All right. So now I just need to come here and do the same deal using MSF Venom. Let's see if I can get my command here. And we should be able to get this to work. So MSF Venom, P, that's Windows, that's the platform. Gosh, I hate these colors. All right, so a few things that need to change here. What's the IP address for this system? I believe that is the IP that I'm going for. This is if you're using their machine on Tryhackme and not your own Kali box. So you need to replace whatever the IP address was, the new one. All right. So this should generate our payload. And now we just need to start Python simple HTTP server here, move it all the way, and we should be able to get a reverse shell. And while it's generating, let me figure out why this thing is not running. Let's check the status for the Postgres database. Didn't I just start this thing here? All right. So this is why my it says exited here. We'll figure out why that is not running. Awesome. All right. Now that we are here, let's start our Python simple HTTP server here and move it. Oh, come on. Do they use Python 3? No. Oh, you know what? I'm not being smart, am I? I can still send this from a different machine. Not a problem. All right, sh.exe. I'm just going to do that one. So I'm generating the payload, and it should phone home to the other machine, which should be easy. sh.exe here. All right, now we're here. Let's reuse the command. All right, now that we did that, all we need to do is start our MSM Venom here and our listener and make sure that things are actually working the way they should. All right, let's see if I can just do that. Look at that. This one works. We want to use multi-handler because that's what we want. And we're going to set payload Windows interpreter reverse TCP. I'm just looking at my notes for setting this one up. It's super simple. Set payload Windows reverse. All right, so set your host equals to, what did we say? eth0. You can put the IP address or eth0, it doesn't matter. Oh, I put equals to. You don't need to say equals to. Then we need to set our port 5353 because that's my port that I like. Show options. This will show us what we've set up. So far we have ETH0 5353. Good. Run or exploit, whatever you want to do. So we're listening. This is like setting up a netcat listener. Now let's just go and find out if we can let's see here. Awesome. Oh, come on, give me a break. Did my machine time out? All right. Where do I find my IP? It timed my machine out. Can you believe this thing? I guess we've been here too long. We just need to, right now we just need to restart the service and off we go. So let's get a new IP address. "37 seconds. How many people do we still have here? Windows is fun actually to exploit. If you haven't exploited Windows before, it's actually really fun. Yes, so right now, since the machine kind of timed out on us, I just need to do a wget and it should be good. All right, so all I need to do is change this IP address here, in here. Let's cancel because this is not going anywhere. I can just edit and change the IP address. And connect. So this is a new machine now that I need to you can extend the time if you can keep an eye on them. Since I just started the machine, I think it's going to need like a minute or so to start all the services and all that good stuff. So I'm probably doing it too fast. Faster than Tryhackme likes it. First, let's save this. And let's see if we can connect this time. I think they say these machines take about 10 minutes or so. So, no, 5 minutes. But I hope this one is fast. Because we need that root flag so we can finish this. We already have our payload ready, even our listener ready. Let's stop the listener for now. There we go. So it was just taking a moment for the machine to start up. Okay. Doesn't like my user bit bucket. Let's see. All right, so what I need to do is I need to seed in the directory, bring in my bed executable, put it in the right directory, restart the service with my listener on, and I should get shell. So it's a simple process. And in a way, Windows is a little easier than Linux once you start the attack, because none of what we're doing here is really difficult. It's literally like, hey, this thing is not coded. Let's just hijack it and put a new executable with a reverse shell that is pointed to us. And that's what they call privilege escalation for that type of execution. I mean, it's not that difficult. Nice. Let me know what you guys think about how we got the user. I thought it was kind of interesting that there was OSINT involved. Just paying attention to detail on the login page is like, hey, we're moving to GitHub. And the first thing is, let's go search GitHub. See what they're talking about since they say they're moving to GitHub. And once you get to GitHub, look at the commits, because people commit passwords to GitHub. And people make mistakes. Yeah, I think it's really cool. It's the best way to learn, I believe. Now I forgot the name of the service. I need to find out what the name of the service is as well. So let's wait for Windows to do Windows things. Which is awesome. Let's see. Yes, I wish Tryhackme added more RAM to these machines. They're very slow. And if multiple people are working on them, you almost have to quit and go to a different machine. All right, let's see. Are we in? Are we there yet? No, not yet. Patience. Patience is good for the hackers. I'm surprised Windows 2019 even runs on 1 gig of RAM. I thought Windows has minimum requirements. How do they do this thing? Windows has minimum requirements where if you try to install it on less than 2 gigs, I think you'll get problems. At least that's what I thought. But no, it looks like you can actually do it according to Tryhackme Labs. Okay, so this is going to be a little slow for us because we just restarted the machine. So as you can see, we just got our user and it's loading in the background and everything. But let's see if we can do it. Nope. Let's see. We have all the time. All right, there we go. Windows is finally here. We use PowerShell for this one. You can use the command line if you are comfortable with that better. But for me, PowerShell is the way to go. So now you know when you do Tryhackme, sometimes half of the time is waiting for the machine to come online if it times out. That means that we have been here for more than an hour, which is we should have been done in an hour. But this is rated as a difficult machine anyway. If you look on the ratings for it, it's saying it's difficult. So I guess we're on track. All right, I'm going to exit out of here and try to get back in again, see if it's faster. Of course not, but and while I was doing that, I just wanted to let you guys know that I moved my lab. Let me see if I can post a picture for it. It's not, my lab is now in my basement, and it's not connected at the moment, but all of my labs, my machines have been racked, and the goal is to make sure that everything looks nicer now and it's also organized. So I'll be showing you that before this ends, or right now, since Tryhackme is being super slow. But I made a mistake when I was racking these. I put my servers near the bottom, which is not what you want. You don't want your servers near the ground, because when you do that, dust can collect quickly. So I'll be moving them around. Let's see. Let's see, why is this taking forever? Is somebody just attacking the machine already? Come on, Tryhackme. This might be the guards that don't want us to get root every time. But this time it's no fault of our own, whatever this is. What do you mean? If anyone is connected to this machine, you need to get out of the machine so I can connect. This is the trouble with live streams because this public IP, you can, anyone with Tryhackme access can, and now it's not letting me. And I'm curious, is that because let's try from their server. I'm going to try XRDP to see if it will work. Let's see, how do I make it work? Oh, there is my friend Remina. Yeah, I agree with you. This is why vulnerable always works better. These other people's platforms. Okay. And our domain. We'll get in there. Okay. Okay, we're fine with that. All right, let's do a history. Let's grab we evil. So it wasn't here. Wasn't there. I'm going to use evil WinRM instead. We have multiple ways we can do this. Let me pick my evil WinRM and we can do that. Because there isn't anything special that we're doing here that we can't do with evil WinRM without evil WinRM. Minus I for our IP. The trouble with vulnerable machines is they don't have Windows, and when we try to do Windows, yeah, thanks BT. And let's see. Let's get in with evil WinRM. This might be even faster if it works. This is what prompted me to create my own labs. Because other people's labs can be problematic. Okay, in error. Looks like it's working this time. There we go. Just in, maybe somebody was already in there. Let's give it a second for it to work, and we should be in. I see Windows. All right. It's still frozen in here. That's why things are not working. Gosh, this is aggravating. Like how hard for this is it for this machine to just run? Tryhackme. We are paying members for this platform. How hard is it for us to have a decently running machine? I'm waiting for the results. Here's PowerShell. The fact that the screen is still black. Okay, shows me that it's not working. PowerShell will launch in a minute. Now you know why I don't do machines from these platforms live. It takes a minute for PowerShell to load. All right, while PowerShell is loading, let me make sure that I have my multi-handler is ready. Let's go to this other tab here. I do an ls here. I do have my sh.exe that I'll be moving. Right? This could be good advertisement for Tryhackme. But if it's this slow, like who would want to spend their time on platforms that are super slow like that? It's mostly because these machines are grossly underpowered. Let's see, I'm just waiting for my commands to populate. Yeah. Let's see if this is now back. All right, so we want to go and see program files times 86. This is the I believe that should work. Oh, come on. And in here we had 0 tier. So now you know in Windows you gotta use your quotes, otherwise things will not work. All right, this is where we're doing our wget from. You can do an IPA, but you can, I think you can already see that the IP is already here. The IP is the name of the machine. What is it? 10.10.197.13. Can I do an 8080? So we want sh.exe, and that is going to be minus output to .exe, and it's going to be in that location. So before we do that, let's go here. Let's make sure that we have our Python simple HTTP server running on port 8080 there. We don't have Python in Tryhackme, so we do it from here. And we use this. Let's regenerate the shell to make sure sh1, and the IP address is going to be the IP address for the box, which is going to be this. All right, well, we generate that. Let's go back in here and fix what we are talking about. This is now going to be sh1 once we generate it. So we generated it. You do that. You do that. If this is confusing for you, that's okay, but these IP addresses are supposed to match where you're getting your executable from. In this case, I'm getting mine from 10.258.87. All right, so that should give us 0.exe in here. ls. All right, now that we have that, stop that, come back here, let's go to here, run, show options. So we're listening on 5353. Everything still looks good. Run. So now what we need to do is restart that service using PowerShell, and that the name of that service was something very interesting. 0 tier 1 service. So you see that this terminal is acting different from the ICE. This one doesn't have any help. That's why I like the PowerShell ICE. This is called 0 tier 1 service. I think that's the name. The machine is a little behind. Like I just typed the full name of the service. Yeah, on Tryhackme, it's on Hack the Box, it's even worse. Okay, let's get the service here. Oh, give me a break. Get me the service. Stopped. Good. Now let's start it. We could have just did a restart the service. I think that should work. So PowerShell is very like straightforward. So we start service. Let's hope it starts. Look at that. Give me shell right away. So we did get our shell. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. So this shell is dying. So let me see if I can transfer it to something else. Yeah, the shell is dying after a little bit. I'm not sure why. All right, let's try it again. We are actually getting a shell, and let's confirm that we're getting it as administrator. Good thing is we already have our service here, so we can keep stopping it and starting it and get our shell. There we go. There's our shell. Get UI didn't work. Wait. And it's dying right away. All right. This actually happens all the time where shells die. But we are system 32 this time. We can see that we are getting in Windows system 32. So here is where maybe we need to improve our skill. How do we fix this shell that keeps dying every 2 seconds? Maybe let me see. How do I get it to work? Let's migrate it to something else. So you can migrate shells. Once you get a shell that works, let's see if we can do it fast enough to win logon. Let me type this down so I can actually paste it once I get a shell. Let's migrate -n. Put exe. All right. So when I get a shell, I'm going to migrate it as fast as I can, because it's dying. This is what I'm going to type. Yeah, but I'm trying to see if I can just migrate it as fast as I can. Metapredator is supposed to give me a... There we go. Oh, it died faster than I thought it would. Did it actually migrate? No. All right, one last time before I change my I recreate my shell. But you see that it works. The first one actually was more stable than this one. Okay. Cannot start due to the following error. Cannot start service on computer. 0-tier service. Well, you cannot start because I'm messing with it, of course. Run. All right. If it doesn't work, I'm going to recreate the service on a different port. Curious why it's not working. Because this exploit, this is how we should exploit it. First one actually allowed us to get in. It starts a reverse TCP. I think it's possible because I didn't specify my my platform. I'm curious if it's because I didn't specify my platform, so I just need to go and see if I can fix that. Come on. Where's my shell? I swear this happens every time. Like every single time we try to do these live streams with Tryhackme, the very last step, when we are about to see that shell, it doesn't happen. But this time I saw a shell, so let's see why it's not starting. Let's get its status. All right, it's stopped. Okay, MetaPredator, where's my shell? Right away, please migrate. Please migrate. Don't stay there. Yes, this should not die now. All right. UID. So we are NT authority system. That means that we owned this system. Through a lot of pain and suffering, John, don't leave. We just finished the machine. All right, so through a lot of pain and suffering, I guess it warrants that this machine on Tryhackme is rated as hard, right? It's a difficult machine, mostly because of a silly thing like a shell that doesn't stick. So what I did here, you might be curious why I just went to migrate the shell. That's why I like to use MetaPredator. With MetaPredator, if something funky is going on, you can always migrate your shell from whatever the service that you're dealing with. Migrate it to WinLogon. That's the only one that I've migrated things to. I know there are other services out there that you can migrate things to. WinLogon.exe, every single time, works. So that's what I migrated to. So now let's get our flag and celebrate our victory. Where is this flag located? think it's on the administrators. Oh, there's a lab admin. I think it's in the administrator desktop. There. Let's get the flag. We worked too hard for this damn flag today. All right, that was fun. I hope you saw interesting things between migrating our shell and abusing that uncoded path in Windows. Really, I can't copy this flag from here. I'm going to give up. We've done the hard part. Let's see if I can paste it here. So what's the deal? Okay, I can't copy from this machine. I don't use this Tryhackme machine, so whatever. Says use the paste tool. There is a tool called paste. All right. Copy. Where is this paste tool that you talk about? You can't paste out of these VMs. Great. All right. So I got the flag. If you haven't, please subscribe to my channel. I'm going through all this pain for you guys, for learning purposes. So thank you for being here, and please subscribe, like, give me a thumbs up. Let the YouTube know that we over here we don't BS things. We actually struggle with things the way everybody struggles with things. Because if you found yourself in my situation today where you had to restart this machine, you probably had to wait 30 minutes like I did. So please like my channel and subscribe. Now I gotta figure out how do I paste my flag. WTF? Really? I didn't know that. Thanks, Matthew. I didn't know that I can use that as a clipboard. So looks like we completed the machine now. What's missing? All right. This was fun. I hope you learned some Windows stuff. I will be downloading more Windows machines and attacking them locally. Otherwise, this was such a fun machine. Thank you all for being here, and we stayed too late today. Otherwise, if you have any questions for me, please let me know. Subscribe. Otherwise, I'll see you next time.